This tastes like doo-doo, but no.
All right, so we're at time. Let's start. I'm FTA. My name is Ming Shou. So today I will host this review section. I will talk about 20 questions. Okay, so let's start. So first two questions. Oh, everybody can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So let's start. The first two questions. Let me make some adjustments. It's been a while. I do not use Zoom, so I forgot how to close the remind sound, like ding ding, like someone is coming. I forgot how to. But anyway, let's start. So the first two questions basically ask you to calculate. Oh, by the way, I believe most of you already did the practice question, right? Is that correct? So we will not go over this question too slowly, but we will not go over it too fast. Okay, so you don't need to worry about that. So the first two questions ask you to calculate the tax amount you need to pay for S corporation and for C corporation. In terms of tax payments, the important difference between these two type of corporations are, for S corporation, you only need to pay tax once, right? So for the first question, this is an S corporation. You only need to pay tax once at the shareholder level. So since the tax paid at shareholder level, then you need to use the personal tax rate on a non-dividend income, since those profits are does not consider as dividends. So we use non-dividend income, 36%. 36% multiplied by the taxable income. In this case, the taxable income is $9.1 per share. Okay. So by doing that, you can easily calculate. The correct answer is 3.276. So the correct answer should be A. Okay, so it's very simple. So this is question one. In question two, actually you need to calculate the tax payment for C corporation. So for the C corporation, you need to pay tax twice. The first time, let's put a total tax.
So cute.
Pay tax twice. The first time actually at the firm level.
Yeah, who is this?
Since you're paying the tax at firm level, then you need to use the corporate tax rate, right? Corporate tax rate. 39% multiplied by the taxable income for this company. In this case, the taxable income actually is 8.3, right? So this is the amount the company need to pay for tax. Since it's a C corporation, the second time you need to pay tax is at the shareholder level, or shareholders level. Again, this is since it's the shareholders, then you need to pay tax at the individual level, at the personal tax rate. Since this income is the tax income, is the dividend income, so you need to use this rate. What? You need to use You need to use this rate. Okay. So 15%, the personal tax rate on dividend income multiplied by the taxable income. In this case, the taxable income is the amount you received as dividend, right? $6. So you do this calculation, and then you can easily find out the correct answer should be C, okay? So final question?
So the answers were A, C.
Okay, so let's move on. So for question one, the correct answer is A. Question two, the correct answer is C. Okay.
Thank you, man. Did he hear me?
So question three, it asks what happened?
Babe.
For question
You're really
three,
testing me.
it asks us which of the following people cannot manage the operation of a company in which they are part of four owners? So for this question, is the simple check for the tables available in your slides. So if you can go back to your slides, you can find the table, right? You have the you have the limited partnership, you have the corporations. I think there are four types of right? For question 3, the correct answer is say. Okay, the limited partners in limited partnership cannot manage the operation. So that's why in the limited partnership, we require there should be at least one.
I feel crazy.
General partners in this organization. Okay, otherwise you cannot. There's nobody who can manage the operation if there's zero general partners, right? So the correct answer is C. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Otherwise, I will move on. Okay. For question 4, we have a table, and this is a balance sheet.
Stay focused.
The question asks us, what is this company's quick ratio for year 2016? 2006. Okay, to calculate the quick ratio for this company, there are two things you need to know. First of all, what is the formula to calculate the quick ratio, right? The quick ratio can be calculated using the current asset minus the inventory, then divided by the current liabilities. Okay, so this is a formula we can use to calculate the quick ratio for this company in year 2006. So let's go back to our balance sheet.
Divided by?
And find out the useful information. So in year 2006, right? And first, we need to find out what is the total current asset. In this case, actually, it should be this one. It should be this one. This is a total current asset. And the second item we need to find out is the inventories is here, right? The last one is the total current liabilities, right? As long as you know the information for these 3 items, then you can simply plug the 3 numbers in your formula. Then you can easily calculate. The correct answer should be A. Okay, should be A.
I love him. I love you, Bubba.
Okay, so these are very straightforward.
I called him Bubba. How do you feel?
Good. So if there's no question, I'll move on. Question 5, we have an income statement. And the question asks us, what is the diluted earnings per share for this company in year 2006? So we know the earnings per share was simply equals to the net income divided by the share outstandings. Okay, so this is a definition, or this is a formula we can calculate the earnings per share. But in this case, we are asked to calculate the diluted earnings per share. Simply based on this formula, we can simply make some expansions. So the diluted earnings per share was simply equals to net income, this part didn't change, divided by the share outstanding, okay, plus the share outstanding from stock options. So I'll put share outstanding 1, then plus share outstanding from the convertible bonds. Okay, from the convertible bonds. So in this case, again, let's check the table. Let's check the income statement. We can find for this company, the net income is directly giving information. Actually, all of them are directly giving information. The net income is 10.6 million, right? And we also know the share outstanding is here, 10 million, right? And we also know the share outstanding from stock options is 0.3, right? And from reading this question, it also tells us that this company has no convertible bond outstanding, which means this one should be 0, right? This one should be 0, and this one should be 0.3, and the original share outstanding should be 10, right? the net income is 10.6 million. So based on this information, you can easily calculate the diluted earnings per share simply equals to 10.6 million divided by 10.3. Okay, so by doing this, you can easily calculate the correct answer should be A. Okay. Any questions? Good. So let's move on. Question 6. We need, if we already know,
Ding dong.
if we already know our interest rate equals to 9%, we need to calculate what is a 1-year discount factor. And we have a formula, or we have the definition for 1-year discount formula is simply this one, 1 over 1 plus R. Okay, so this is definition, or this is a formula we can get 1-year discount factor. We simply plug in this 9%. Right? We simply plug in this 9%. Then you can easily calculate what is 1-year discount factor. And the correct answer should be, let me check, C. Okay, so this is very simple. It's very simple. Question 7.
Oh. No.
Question 7. Sarah wants to have 600,000 in her saving account when she retires. How much she has to put in the account now if the interest rate equal to 8%?
How many questions?
To ensure that she will have 600,000 in 20 years. So in this case, simply you are asking this question like this. In 20 years, today you need to, Sarah, you need to deposit some money. Let's put P amount money. And after 20 years, in her account, she wants her account will have 600,000. Right? So how much does she need to deposit in this in her account? So this amount is simply the present value of 600,000 in
now I can see
20 years. Right?
Put it back.
So in this case, we need to calculate the present value.
I was moving my head out of the way so I can see.
Of 600,000 in 20 years. So we have a formula to do that. Simply equal to future value divided by 1 plus R with the power of n. Right? And the future value or the future cash flow is 600,000 divided by 1 plus the interest rate is given 8% with the power of 20. Okay? Simply using this formula, you can easily get what is the correct answer. The correct answer is A. Or you can use financial calculator, the time value money function of financial calculator. You already learned that, right? How to use financial calculator, right? Okay, good. Then, so let's simply do a small test just for fun. So in this case, if we want to use the time value money function, then the n should be how much? 20, right? Interest rate should be, since it's 8%, so should be this one, right? Yep. Is that correct?
Yes. No, it should be.
And future value is 600,000.
No, I mean the interest rate.
Isn't it just 8?
Isn't just 8, right? It's just 8. Good. So in this case, what is my future? The present value is what we want to calculate, right? What is my periodic payment?
0 because she's only paying once at the very beginning.
Exactly. And the future value is simple, right? 600,000. And if you use the financial calculator, you'll find out actually the PV is a negative number, right? It's a negative number. It's negative this one. Simply because you, from the beginning, you pay this money out. You deposit this money out. So it's a cash outflow. The negative sign simply means it's a cash outflow. Flow from you to the bank. right? So it's a cash outflow. Why this is positive?
See which ones
600,000 is positive.
how they work on
because
Excel.
it's the cash
Because a
inflow
lot of
for
them,
your
like
bank
the
will
two-step
give this
ones,
amount
like
of
you have to
money
find
to
present value
you,
and
so it's a
future
cash
value.
inflow is positive.
I gotta remember how to do that.
Okay, so this is very simple. Yeah. I think you have a good understanding about the financial.
Well, some of them, like you need to find like PMT, then future value, or you had to do blah blah blah, then blah blah blah.
Okay, so question 8. We have a cash flow like that. We have 4 cash flows actually. 4 cash flow 1, 2, 3, 4. The question asks us, given the interest rate equals to 10%, we want to calculate the present value. So in this case, since we have 4 cash flows, what we need to do is simply calculate the present value of this one, right? Calculate the present value of this one, calculate the present value of this one, calculate the present value of this one, and then add them together, right? So let's do that. So the total present value was simply equals to, our first cash flow is 5,000. 5,000.
There's gotta be another way.
Given the interest rate equals to 10% to the power 1, right? So we further discount the second future cash flow, which is 6,000, divided by 1 plus R, which is 10% with the power 2. And then you discount the third cash flow. Very simple.
I keep getting charged for a subscription
and then you discount
that I've canceled
the last cash flow.
3 times, and they still keep charging me $50 every month.
What? So in this case,
it was,
you can. So this is a formula way you can calculate the present value of this string of cash flows. You can also
they signed me up for
use the cash flow sheet function. I believe Professor Chen also mentioned that in the class.
Everything.
So if we want to use the cash flow sheet function, what is my
canceled it online, and it's like,
CF0?
okay, your subscription's canceled. They still charge me. I did it again, and then now this month they cancel again, so I have to call them.
What is my CF0?
I don't know.
Did they refund you last time?
No, I just kept canceling it, but this time they better refund me.
It's 0. 0, exactly. You can simply put a 0 here, right? 0. And our second cash flow. What is my second cash flow? 5,000, exactly. Then third cash flow is just third cash flow is 6,000, right? First cash flow 7,000, and the last cash flow is 8,000. Given the interest rate equals to 10%, then you can easily calculate the NPV. Should be question 8 should be B. That should be B. 20,227. Okay, so two ways. I think in the exam, it's better you use the financial calculator because it can save you a lot of time, and you can also
trouble putting it into the financial calculator. Could you show us how to put it into the calculator again?
Sure, no problem. So let me first open my financial calculator. So okay, share with this one. So now you see my financial calculator, right? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good. So just use the question 8 as an example. So since we mentioned that our first cash flow, I have some message. Let me first check the message. I think in terms of record this lecture, I think Professor Chen mentioned that he will provide the solution later on. So actually, you really don't need to have the recording. Okay, so if you have any question, you can simply ask me after this class. All right. So let's go back to our example. We have our first cash flow is first you start from here, right? Our first cash flow is 0. Then you simply put 0 here. Our second cash flow is 5,000. Then enter. Our third cash flow is 6,000. Right? Our fourth cash flow is 7,000. our last cash flow is 8,000. We entered. What we want to calculate is NPV, plus NPV, and the financial calculator will ask us what is the interest rate. Interest rate in this case is given 10%. So simply put 10 here, and then press this down arrow button and then press this compute button. It will give you 20,227.4435. Okay, exactly is B.
My calculator is just flipping between CF0 and CF1. It won't let me get to CF2 or 3.
You need to press this button.
With the second, after pressing second, or
so now you already put the first cash flow, right? CF0 is our first cash flow. Then you press this button. Then you can input the C1, which is second cash flow, and then further press this button. You can go to C2, then enter the number. Further press this button. C3 is a fourth cash flow, 7,000.
I'm doing that, but it's still flipping between CF0, CO1, and then FO1.
No. After you after you go to for example, after you enter the 0 here, you press this button, right? Now there's nothing here. You need to enter this 5,000. Press enter button, right? Then you further press this button twice.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay. So let's go back to our question. Choose here should be. So this question 8. It's good like we go over about how we can use our financial calculator because it could be very useful in your exam. Okay. So question 9. A business promised to pay the investor 6,000 today for a payment of 1,500 in 1 year time, 3,000 in 2 years time, and 3,000 in 3 years time. The question asks us, what is the present value of this business opportunity given the interest rate is 6%? So to answer this kind of question, the important thing is to visualize the cash flows. So how we can do that? The easiest way is to draw the timeline. We have 3 years. From the beginning, you need to invest 6,000, okay, to initiate this investment. And later on in year 1, you will be able to receive 1,500, 3,000 in year 2, 3,000 in year 3, right? So as you can see, this cash flow actually is very similar to our previous cash flows, right? It's very similar to our previous cash flows. This cash flow, right? So also our task is similar. After we know the timeline or the cash flow for this question, we can simply use the cash flow sheet function, right? In this case, CF0 would equal to negative 6,000. Our second cash flow, actually in your financial calculator, it says is, I believe it's C1, right? Should equal to 1,500. C2 would equal to 3,000. C3 would equal to 3,000, right? So just follow the similar step I just showed you in your financial calculator to use the cash flow sheet function, and also let your financial calculator know that interest rate is 6%. Then you can easily calculate what is the NPV in this case. And in this case, NPV is A, okay? First, visualize the cash flow, then simply use the cash flow sheet function available in your financial calculator. I just showed you how to use it. Then for this kind of question, it only may take you 10 seconds to finish, okay? Good. If there's no question, let's move on. Clear? Somehow I have some problems to clear this. Maybe we'll wait for a while. Why I cannot clear it? Clear my join. Clear all joins. By erase. Let me see. What? Okay, I cleared. So we have finished question 9. So let's jump to question 10. In question 10, we are dealing with the perpetuity issues, right? Perpetuity will pay 900 per year starting 5 years after the perpetuity is purchased. The question asks us, what is the present value for this perpetuity on the date when it was purchased, given the interest rate equal to 11%? So again, let's draw it. So we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5, and year 6, year 7, and lasts forever. This is perpetuity, right? Lasts forever. The question told us that today, for example, if you are here today, you purchase a perpetuity, pay this amount of money, okay? Up to the next sign simply means you need to pay some money out. And only after 5 years, you are able to receive $900 per year, right? From year 5, you receive 900. In year 6, you receive 900. In year 7, you receive 900, and 900 lasts forever, right? So in this case, we need to calculate today's value, present value. But when we talk about perpetuity, we have a formula, right? We have a formula to calculate the present value. So the present value of a perpetuity is simply equals to C divided by R. C is our first cash flow, right? C is our first cash flow. But to use this formula to calculate the present value, actually we need to make sure our cash flow, the timeline of cash flow, meets 3 characteristics. Have these 3 characteristics. So let me draw a very general timeline for perpetuity. Okay, that's forever. So the first characteristic is this one. From the beginning, you have 0 cash flow. Okay, so this is the first characteristic. The second characteristic is that for the later on time periods, you have the cash flow or equivalent cash flow. So this is the second characteristic, okay? And the last characteristic is that this cash flow will last forever. As long as the cash flow have these 3 characteristics, then you are able to use this formula to calculate the present value of a perpetuity. Okay. But let's check this cash flow. Let's check this cash flow. Actually, it does not have these 3 characteristics, right? It does not have these 3 characteristics. But let me erase this part. Although this cash flow or this timeline of cash flow does not have these 3 characteristics, but if let's assume if I cut this cash flow at year 4, I cut here, okay? Now I only look at this part cash flow, right? So let's assume you are standing here, you are in year 4, okay? Then let's check whether this part cash flow have these 3 characteristics or not. From the beginning, in year 0 or from the beginning, you do have 0 cash flow because in year 4 we have 0, right? We have 0 cash flow, and in the later time periods, you have the equivalent cash flows, and then this cash flow lasts forever, right? So if we only look at this part, actually, we can use this formula, right? We can use this formula. Since this is the value in year 4, I will add a 4 here. Okay, so this is the present value or the value in year 4. Then let's use this formula. What does it say? In this case, C is 900 divided by the discount rate, the interest rate 11%. So by doing that, we can easily calculate the value in year 4. It would equal to 8,181.82. Okay.
Just one more thing to clarify.
So this is the value. Okay, this is the value in year 4, right? Let's assume you are here. Then that's the value for you. But in fact, when do we purchase this property? Actually, we purchased this property today in year 0. So now we need to further figure out what is the value in year 0.
I forgot
okay?
this.
So we need to calculate.
I got $100 refunded and I have $50 gift card to the website.
So the present value simply equals to the future value divided by 1 plus r with the power of n. We have used this formula so many times, right? What is the future value? Future value simply is the value in year 4. Value in year 4 divided by 1 plus r with the power of n. Value in year 4, 8181.82 divided by 1 plus 11% with the power of 4. By doing that, you can easily calculate how much money do you need to pay to have this property. Okay, that is exactly the present value today, which the correct answer is C. Okay, any question?
Should I get you some lingerie?
Good question. Okay, let's move on.
You click for big guys or what?
So this is question 10. The correct answer is C.
Satin boxers.
Question 11. Question 11. So since your let me check. Since your first birthday, your grandparents have been depositing 1,200 in a saving account on every one of your birthday. The account will pay you 6% interest. Okay, and immediately after your grandparents make the deposit on your 18th birthday, what is the money amount in account? So again, let's visualize. What is our cash flow? Our cash flow is simply this one. From 1, 2, 3 until you are 18 years old, right? At your 18th birthday. From the beginning, actually, when on the date you came to this world, your grandparents didn't deposit anything, right? But from your first birthday, deposit 1,200 until the 18th birthday. So at this date, how much money do you have in your account? So in this case, as you can see, by the way, what do we call this cash flow? What do we call? We have a name for this cash flow. What do we call it? Anyone remember it? Annuity, exactly. This is a very typical annuity. Again, for annuity, you have 3 characteristics. First one.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
From the beginning, you have a cash which is 0. From in the later time period, you have the equivalent cash flows, right? So this is the second characteristic. The last characteristic is it ends somewhere in the future, right? If it's the perpetuity, then this cash flow will last forever. Okay, so as long as a cash flow has these 3 characteristics, this is an annuity, and we can use the annuity formula to calculate the future value, the value in your 18th birthday,
Oil
right?
slip crop.
That will simply equals to C divided by R multiplied by 1 plus R with the power of n minus 1, right? This is the formula you can calculate the future value of annuity, but again, we can use our financial calculator, right? So our n would equal to 18 because in the 18 years, the interest rate would simply equals to 6, right? Present value 0 because from the beginning, your grandparents didn't deposit anything in your saving account, and for the next 18 years, your grandparents deposited 1,200 in account, right? So future value is what we want. By doing that, you can easily calculate the correct answer is A. Okay. Again, you have 2 ways to deal with this question. Either use the formula or use the financial calculator. Okay.
Why do you know what that is?
Okay, good.
That is common knowledge.
Question 12. Now you are purchasing a new automobile that costs you $33,000. The dealership offers you a special financing rate equals to 9% APR. If we convert this annual rate into monthly rate, which is 0.7% per month, right? For 60 months. Assume that you do not make a down payment on this auto and you take the dealer's financing deal. What is a monthly payment? What is a monthly payment? Again, to visualize this cash flow, you need to draw a timeline. 1, 2, 3,
Actually not.
4. How many time periods in this case? How many time periods in this case? 60, right? 60. And from it's equivalent saying that from the beginning, you borrow this amount of money. Okay, you borrow this amount of money, and later on you pay some money to this company, to this dealer. Make a monthly payment, for example. Actually, since you borrow some money, then the first cash flow should be positive, right? So cash flow in. Then later on you pay some money back, some money back, some money back, some money back, some money back. Some money back, right? So in this case, we want to calculate the C, what is the period of payment, okay? Again, we can use our time value money function available in your financial calculator. So in this case, our N would equal to 60, you just mentioned that. In this case, what is our interest rate? What is our interest rate? We have 9%. 0.75, right? Because this cash flow is a monthly cash flow, then we need to have a monthly interest rate to match with the monthly cash flow. So we should use 0.75 instead of 9. Okay? Present value. What is present value in this case? What is present value?
33,000.
33,000. Right. And period of payment exactly is what we want to calculate. And the future value equal to 0 because we already paid. So this debt is already clear, right? This debt is already clear, or your borrowing is already clear. So by doing that, you can easily find the correct answer is B. Is B. So if you use this way to do the calculation, you would find out your financial calculator will tell you the period of payment, in fact, is -685. Again, this negative sign simply means you are paying money out. You're paying money to the dealer. Okay, so it's cash outflow. The reason why I emphasize that here we should have positive sign is because you borrow this amount of money from the dealer, so it's a cash inflow for you. Okay, so that you should be very sensitive to this signs. Okay, so let's move on. Question 13. Assume now you are 30 years old and you're planning on a retirement at age 65. You expect your salary to be 42,000 1 year from now. So next year your salary will be 42,000.
Are we not going to go to
and
dinner?
you also expect your salary will increase at a rate equal to 5% per year.
Yeah.
To save for your retirement, you plan on making annual contributions to this retirement account. So your first contribution will be made next year when you are 31 years old, right? And there will be 8% of your salary at the time. So you will do that until you reach to the age of 65. Given the interest rate equal to
this is
9%,
ridiculous.
the question asks us, what is the present value for this
Why did he give us
saving?
4 interest rates in one problem?
We need to visualize the cash flows. Okay, let me put. So this today you are 30. You're 30 years old. Next year you're 31.
The first 3 problems I was like, we could do this.
Right? 33, and until to 65, right?
Have fun.
Until 65. So we need to match. We need to put the cash flow into this timeline. So of course today, this year you will not deposit anything. You will not deposit anything, right? So here should be 0. Next year you will deposit 8% of your salary. So your salary next year will be 42,000. How about when you are 32 years old? When you are 32 years old, you will again deposit 8% of your salary, but actually your salary increased. Okay, your salary increased 42,000 multiplied by 1 plus 5%, because your salary increased by 5%, right? So this is the money you would deposit in your account when you are 32 years old. Okay, how about when you are 33 years old? How about this time? Again, you will deposit 8% of your salary, but again, your salary increased by 5%. So multiply by 42,000, 42,000, multiplied by 1 plus 5%, the power of 2. And this trend will last until you are 65 years old. Right? So as we can say, by simply look at this cash flow, you can find that actually this is a very typical growing annuity question, right? Now we need to calculate the present value of a growing annuity. We have a formula for that, right? The growing annuity formula was simply equals to, present value was simply equals to our first cash flow. I will use C1 to represent our first cash flow divided by the difference. Let me use a different color. C1 divided by the difference between the discount rate and the growth rate, then multiply by 1 minus 1 plus G over 1 plus R with the power of N. Okay, so this is the formula we need to use to calculate the present value of this growing annuity. Okay, so we already know a lot of information. We already know the discount rate equals to, given information 9%, the growth rate equals to 5%, right? We already know they are 35 years, right? They are 35 years. The only thing we didn't know actually is C1, right? Actually, we already know C1, how much money you deposited in your account when you're 31 years old, which is exactly this one. 8% multiplied by 42,000, right? So we have all the information to calculate the present value. Okay, so the correct answer is, let me check, is A. Questions?
No,
Any question?
I think you could do it.
So the 8% only apply to calculating the fee?
The 8% only calculating the C1, yes.
Okay.
Any other question? Good. Okay, let's move on. So this question 13. Question 14 is very simple. It's simply check the definition check. What is arbitrage? Okay, the arbitrage is simply when you observe the price difference for identical goods or services, or one or very similar goods, if they have different price, then you can make you can do the arbitrage. Simply buy these goods or services at the low price and sell these goods or services at the high price. Then the price difference is your profit, right? So you check A, B, C, D, and you can find the correct answer is C. Okay, it's a definition check. So there's not too much thing you need to mention related to this. Question 15. This is a very simple one. What is the future value of 15,000 in today? What is the future value of 15,000 in 30 years? Assuming the interest rate is 12%. So today you can have this amount, right? You can have this amount. What is the value in 30 years? Now we have today's value is this amount. What we need to calculate is the future value, right? Future value simply, we have a formula equal to today's value, present value, multiplied by 1 plus R with the power of N. In this case, today's value is 50,000 multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate, 12%, is giving information. 30 years is also giving information, right? By doing that, you can easily calculate the future value, actually is D. Of course, you can use the financial calculators, but this question is not complex if you even you use the formula. Okay, so the correct answer is D. So this is a very simple one. Question 16. Now you are considering purchasing a new home. You will need to borrow $290,000 to purchase this home. So this money you will borrow today. And the mortgage company will offer you 20-year fixed mortgage rate. The interest rate will be 1%. This is a monthly interest rate per month, 1% per month, okay? So this is a monthly interest rate. If you borrow money from this mortgage company, what is your monthly mortgage payment? What is the monthly? Actually, this question is very similar to the previous one, right? This is to the previous one. So in this case, you have what? You have 240 time periods, right? You have 240 time periods. Today, you borrow this amount to purchase a home. Okay, to purchase a home, later on you need to pay the money back to this company, right? So later on you're paying money. Later on you're paying money back, right? It's very similar to the previous one. So of course, in the end, you will not owe anything to this company, right? So again, we can easily use the time value money function. The earn would equal to 240 months, 240 time periods. So this is months. How many months is, right? Interest rate, simple, 1, because we need to use a monthly interest rate to match with our monthly cash flows. Our present value is the money amount you borrowed today, 290,000. Period payment is what we want to calculate. And remember, this period payment is monthly cash flow. Future value is 0, right? So by doing that, you can easily calculate the correct answer is C. Again, this C will be a negative number because you are paying money back to this company's cash outflow for you. Okay, so this is very simple, very similar to our previous question. Any question? Okay, good. Question 17. Now a person have the opportunity to invest in a scheme which will pay 5,000 at the end of each next 5 years. He must invest 10,000 at the beginning of the first year and additional 10,000 at the end of the first year. The question asks us, given the interest rate equal to 3%, what is the net value for this investment? Again, visualize the cash flows. There are 5 years, right? So the question first tells us that for each year, you will be able to receive 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. But at the beginning of first year, you need to invest 10,000, right? From the beginning. So this 10,000 actually is here, okay? And at the end of first year, you need to invest another 10,000. Again, this 10,000 actually is here, okay? So given this cash flow, given the interest rate equal to 3%, we want to calculate the net present value, right? So again, this is a very simple question. Or CF1 would equal to negative 10,000, okay? Or C, excuse me, 0, CF0. Or C1 would equal to negative 5,000, right? Because these two can be combined together, okay? These two can be combined together. C2 would equal to positive 5,000, and we know this 5,000 happened for 4 times. So I put F2 equal to 4. So I finish all my cash flow input, given the interest rate equal to 3, right? Then I can easily calculate what is my net present value. The correct answer is D. Okay, so to deal with this kind of question, you only need, the important thing is you need to visualize. You need to know what is the cash flow you are dealing with. Okay, any question? All right, so if there's no question, let's jump to question 18. So Martin wants to provide money in his will for an annual bequest to whichever of his living relatives is oldest. So that bequest will provide 4,000 in the first year and grow by 7% per year forever. So whenever you read the word forever, then you should immediately connect this question with perpetuity. And also, since this cash flow is growing by 7%, so you should immediately connect this question to growing perpetuity. Given the interest rate equal to 9%, we want to calculate what is the present value for this cash flow. What is the present value for this cash flow? This is very simple because we have a formula to deal with the present value of a growing perpetuity. Simply equals to the cash flow divided by the difference between the discount rate and the growth rate. In this case, the cash flow is 4,000. The difference between the discount rate is 9%. The growth rate is 7%. All given information, then you can easily find out the correct answer is C. Okay, so this is a very simple question. The important thing is that you can identify, or you are able to realize that you are dealing with growing perpetuity. Okay, so let's go to question 19. So a bank is negotiating a loan. The loans either be paid off a lump sum of 80,000 at the end of 4 years, or equal annual payments at the end of each of the next 4 years. If the interest rate equal to 6%, what annual payment should be made so that both forms of payment will be equivalent? So basically, we have how many years? 4 years. We have a 4-year loan, and there are two options. The first option is you pay some money back at the end of each year, right? At the end of each year. The second option is that you pay the lump sum of 80,000 back at the end of year 4, right? The question requires that these two methods should be equivalent, which means the future value of 2 should equal to the future value of option 1, right? We can immediately identify that the future value of option 2 is this amount, right? Or the future value in year 4 of option 2 is negative 80,000. We only need to calculate the future value of so let's do it this way. So 80,000. Then what we need to calculate is this C, right? So again, you can use the time value money function, okay? By simple, since there are only 4 time periods, then would equal to 4. The interest rate would equal to 6. The present value actually be 0, right? Period payment is what we want to calculate, and the future value would equal to 80,000 or negative 80,000, depending on preference. Okay, let's put negative 80,000. By doing that, you can easily figure out your period payment actually should be B. Okay, so far any questions? Okay, question, good. So the last one. Now you have 12,000 in your saving account and can save additional 3,600 per year. If the interest rate is equal to 12%, how long does that take your saving to grow to 47,000? You can visualize it. Since we do not know how many years do we need to wait, so let's simply equal to n. Okay. From the beginning, you deposit 12,000. All right, and later on you further deposit 3,600. 3,600. Let's put net here. 3,600 until to year end. Okay. And at the end of year end, you want your account would have 47,000, right? So we need to calculate N. In fact, when we use the time value of money function, we have 5 buttons, right? We have 5 buttons. We have N, we have the interest rate, we have the present value, we have the period payment, we have the future value.
The one that was
5
wanting to
buttons.
surfing.
Oh, yeah.
As long as we know 4 out of 5, then we can calculate the rest, right? We can calculate the rest.
I really have
so
no
let's check
memory.
what kind of information do we have? We already know the interest rate equal to 12%. We already know our present value equal to negative 12,000. We already know our period payment is negative 3,600. Okay? We already know our future value will equal to 47,000, right? So we already know 4 out of 5 buttons. Then we can easily calculate the rest one. The rest one should, how long? Say, more than 5 years. 5.3, right, 5.3. So I already finished all the 20 questions.
Remember the one that he came
Any
with?
question so far?
Because he only came with one.
Okay, good. Say the answer one more time. I would like to check that Okay, so how about I write that down? Actually, Professor Chen would also post the solutions, but I will do it one more time. Let me check. How about I put it like this way? On 1 to 5. 1 to 5. So if you have any questions, you can ask. I'm putting the right answers for you now. Let me check. A, say.
She just Snapchat me all the time, but I'm really bad at replying. So.
A, say, A, say, A. Okay, so I have some message here. Do 15. Okay, I'll do 15 one more time. Do 4. Okay. 4 and 15. Let me finish this one
I think
first.
we usually don't play like Shamanon, but they're gonna try to get us to play
10.
Shamanon and
6 to 10 is
HPO for preseason.
A. Yes, it's A. Say A, B. Say A, B.
Just be annoying though.
Oh, I don't want to play the games.
No, the games will kill me. I think I told you last time we played Shamanon, we beat them like 8-0 or something, and they tore 3-year-olds ACLs.
I answer the question first. So let's first do
I'd rather not get
15, okay? Let's do 15. 15.
You'll just see me running away from the games.
It's a very simple one. 15. So today's value is 50. Today's value is 50,000, right? So how about you put this amount of money in your bank account, and then after 30 years, how much money do you have in your account? This question is equivalent asking you this. Okay, today you put this amount of money in your bank account and wait for 30 years. How much money will you have in your account? We simply calculate the future value. Okay, future value will equal to the present value multiplied by 1 plus r with power of n. Right? Today's value, you deposit this amount, and then have the compounding effect. Right? Can have the compounding effect 12% with the power of 30. Okay, by doing this, you can have the correct answer. Okay, so this question 15. Someone also asked me to repeat question 4, so I'll repeat question 4. So if you have no question, you can feel free to leave.
Sarah posted a couple of friends at happy hour.
So this question, you need to calculate quick ratio. Quick ratio simply equals 2. So you need to first understand what is or how to calculate the quick ratio. Simply equals to the current asset minus the inventory divided by the current liabilities. Okay, the current liabilities. So if you already know this formula, then you find out the three components.
Because to do the 40-yard dash and stuff.
Here. But this is your current asset. This is your inventory, and this is your total liability. Total liabilities, right? So you simply plug these 3 numbers in, and then you can solve it.
It's really good if a lineman can get 5 seconds.
So if you have any question, you can continue to ask. Otherwise, I will finish the answers.
No, I'll probably get like 5 too, but like most of them don't get 5 seconds. Like she like that's
Well, that's good for him.
Can you show me real quick how to calculate number 7 on the calculator?
Okay, number 7.
Oh yeah, shit.
Number 7. 7.
I don't know why I
is
can't
really
picture
thin.
guys
We
that
have
big like moving at all. Cause like
how much you
if we have a
now
girl that's
to
like
have-
160, she can't move.
Yeah.
It's like what the fuck?
No, that's the fuck sport.
7.
Once you get up.
For question
Well, I guess it's not
7,
all
you
guys, but once
you
you
don't
get
need
to, like,
really
even
use a
college,
financial
but
calculator
especially the NFL,
because
like,
your cash flow is very simple.
Fat guys can run.
Your cash flow is very simple. 20 years, right? Is it 20 years? 20 years. So you only have 2 cash
I have a
flow.
lot of muscle because if
Today
you
you
have a lot
put
of
some
fat,
money and later on
like,
you would have this
you're
amount.
just super strong.
So you can use, of course you can use the formula if you want to use a
What
calculator.
the
So
fuck is going on?
use the time value money function. Okay, your N would equal to 20. The interest rate would equal to 8. The present value is what you want to calculate. PNT equal to 0. For this time period, there's no cash flow, right?
You didn't put any
Each value
solutions in?
equal to 600,000. Then you can easily solve PV, right?
Wait,
You're
what?
good. You're good.
You didn't have time to like you worked them all out and didn't have time to put them all in, or what?
papers.
Any other question?
You need to take a photo and then make a PDF and then upload it. And it was 2 questions. Only one. So.
So
You know your teachers.
Oh no, but the thing is, so I didn't really study. I'm gonna be honest.
on 1,
You were
2,
studying for 3 days.
Well, I still fucked up. It was hard. Apparently I didn't study enough.
No, that's what I'm saying. Just email them.
Oh, that wasn't the real. So the other
10,
email. That's
say
what I've been studying for 362, not 300. Different one. Anyway, he literally set out. It was 15 minutes. He set out 30 minutes so you have time to upload it. Still fuck it up. That's fine.
So email them and tell them you finished on time with a picture.
Say that's correct from 11
Until we
to
give you like
15.
partial credit for it, you know.
A, B, A, C,
I wouldn't give up on
D,
it
A,
quite
B, C,
yet.
D.
And also I looked up. The quizzes are only 10%. So might as well get like
The last
50
5, A, B, C, D.
Yeah, you're good.
The A, B, C, D.
I'm good.
A, B,
Lauren.
C,
Why do I mean to ask?
C, D, C, D, C, B, C, C, D, C, B, C, C, D, C, B, C. C, D, C, B, C. Okay, so that's the answers.
You guys join later, yeah?
Yes.
You don't need to worry about this. Professor Chen will post the solution so you can take a look at that.
Damn.
Okay?
My friend, or not my friend, like this girl, my friend group from high school.
So if you
She
have
posted,
asked, if you have a question, feel free to
or
ask.
she sent in our old
Otherwise,
girls group chat, and she said, 22 years old and never had a Valentine. You'd think the only